Nice fish. It's nice fish.
Yeah.
Hej! Välkommen i Bredalshav!
The pure waters of the Breiðalsá River flow through the majestic scenery of eastern Iceland and meet the sea at the tiny town of Breiðalsvík. The river and its tributaries, Norðardalsá and Tinadalsá, flow through the broad valley called Breiðdalur. And here there is a vast amount of fishing for very few rods. It's a picturesque agricultural valley, and the river it holds flows through beautiful surroundings. The rapids, waterfalls, wide slow-flowing pools, and classic runs make up over 25 miles of fishing. The river is managed as a whole, and there are 3 or 4 beats fished by 2 rods each, depending on the time of year. The average catch in the short season from July to September has been around 100 salmon in the past. But these numbers are growing. Angling service Strangir, who manage the river, are adding to the wild stocks with the proven method of smolt releasing. This is the same process that they've used on the Rangá River, making it one of the best-known salmon rivers in the world. The fertilization process is undignified but productive. In early spring, the hatchery-reared smolts are released into ponds fed by river water. It takes them less than a week to imprint on the scent of their home river. Once they do, they're left to head for the sea in their own time. As well as keeping rod-caught fish alive to use as broodstock, they're also improving natural spawning habitat and encouraging catch and release. With tens of thousands of smolts released each spring, numbers of grilse and multi-sea winterfish are rising steadily. These fish are increasingly being caught by anglers from abroad, among them Sandy Levinton, editor of the British magazine Trout and Salmon. Michael Evans, international fly casting instructor, holding one of the many Arctic char caught in the river. Grace Oglesby playing a salmon, and of course Arthur Oglesby, who is sadly no longer with us. Arthur will be remembered as a great fishing enthusiast and instructor, a respected writer and photographer, and a prolific catcher of salmon, many of them here in Iceland. Writer, conservationist, and keen angler Jack Hemingway, who like Arthur died in November of 2000, made his last fishing trip to Iceland in August of that year. The Breiðalsá was one of the 3 rivers he visited.
I've found Iceland to be a very exciting destination for salmon fishing. One of the most important reasons is that there's a great diversity of rivers. For the most part, they're small rivers. They're very personable. You become very closely acquainted with them. And the other thing, which I particularly like, is that the people in Iceland are extremely friendly. They don't even mind Americans. This river, the Breiðalsá, is one of the new rivers that's being enhanced with the smolt introduction. The fish are all from local sources, and we're in I think the 3rd or 4th year on this river, and the program is just starting to pay off. This is my 2nd day here. I hope that this day I'm going to connect.
Fortunately, the salmon here don't discriminate on the basis of reputation alone. And the river can give good results to any angler who's willing to experience the beauty and challenge of the Breiðalsá. The upper section of the main Breiðalsá River meanders through the broadening valley. The bottom is mainly sand and gravel, with few rapids or rocky sections. On windless days, the surface of the water can be too still, as it was when Michael Evans cast a long line here. But usually there's no shortage of wind in Iceland, and in better conditions, Sandy Levinton struck silver.
Excellent morning, Sandy.
The voice behind the camera is Throster Edlidesen, head of Angling Service Strengir.
Maybe a big one. Good fishing.
Yeah, it's been a lovely morning. Lost one and caught two.
The upper river can hold good numbers of fish in the late summer, but they can be hard to catch in low water conditions, as Malcolm McPherson found out on a mild August day. He cast over several fish with the help of guide Julius.
1 meter more, longer line.
But they weren't in a taking mood. Swiss angler Reto Koutalidis had better luck in the same pool.
Very happy.
Well done.
Reto was fishing a microtube skated on the surface using a riffled hitch technique.
Came like a trout.
Yeah.
The first one was just, I thought, maybe 5-6 pounds. And then it keep on,
Yeah.
boom, 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 boom. I didn't jump, nothing, and my arm is hurting me now.
4.5 kilo. That's 10 pounds. Yeah.
The middle section of the Bredalsau runs from a dramatic waterfall to the junction with the river's main tributary. The main falls spill over into a big deep pool that can be fished from both banks. Just below, the river narrows and falls again into a pool that's fished from the top of this small cliff. Further downstream, a pool that's particularly good for using the riffle hitch, but that can be said of many pools in this part of the river. Then a series of classic pools as the river rushes to meet the tributary Tinnedalsau. Here, Reto fishes the run just below the junction with a single-handed rod. The river suits both single and double-handed rods, usually with floating lines, but sometimes intermediate or sink tips. Meanwhile, Malcolm pores over his fly box looking for something tempting. But did it work?
Well, this was caught on the junction pool. It's a lovely bit of turquoise, streamy water, and it took it exactly the right place.
Malcolm also caught a smaller grilse just upstream, this one on a size 14 butcher's, so not a bad morning for him. Each day's fishing is divided into 2 sessions of 6 hours, and who would want to fish more when you consider the comforts waiting back at the Bredalsau Lodge? A fabulous new lodge was built in the spring of 2003. It's on the lower part of the river system in Throster Edlidesen's family estate, called Eidjar. It's connected to an older house where staff live, and the office of Angling Service Strengir is now located. Not far from the banks of the river, the lodge offers spectacular views of the surrounding high snow-jacketed mountain peaks, right across the valley from the sitting and dining rooms and the balcony. It's a short distance to drive to the river, a big difference from the previous hotel arrangements in the nearby village of Bredalsvik, which meant quite a long time in the car on the way to the beats. The lodge has a good tackle and drying room. Once you've got your fishing gear off, you walk into a long hall where you can see the cozy fire in the sitting room. There are 8 ensuite double bedrooms, including 1 master suite, and they all have TV and internet connections. Every bathroom even has specially heated floors. The luxury doesn't stop there. There's a hot jacuzzi on the balcony, and next door a sauna to relax in after a good day's fishing. The lodge is ideal for non-fishing guests wanting a high degree of comfort, and at the same time to be able to relax and enjoy the surroundings. And there's plenty of choice of other activities that Angling Service Strengir can arrange. The sitting and dining room is a cozy place to be at the end of an enjoyable day. A great view and a fireplace make for an especially good atmosphere to complement the excellent food served here. The lower Bredalsau stretches from the junction with the Tinnedalsau to the sea. The river is wider here, except in the canyon just below the junction, where it has carved an impressive rocky gorge. The downstream end of the canyon opens out into a broad pool where a small stream flows in. There's the lower end of the canyon in the background. A two-handed rod is useful for covering the water in these bigger pools. There are a few more pools to fish further downriver. Michael Evans plays a fish in one of them, before the last, which runs through two stone outcrops to the river's estuary. Reto spotted a fish jumping in one of the lower pools and has been casting to it, hoping for a fresh fish in a taking mood. And it was! You can see from the exposed gravel that the river was quite low, but there were still fresh fish coming in on the high tides. Reto's fish weighed 8 pounds.
Wow, what a fish!
And he named the fly which he tied himself, Julius Blue, in honor of his guide.
God, that's absolutely lovely. Is it fresh?
Just fresh.
In early September 2000, with more water in the river, the lower beat gave some exceptional catches, including 4 fish in one day for ex-Rangau guide Odin.
Yes!
Sjóin!
Down with the mother!
Það minnir sem vist í morgun. Það var fínt.
This one weighed 19 pounds and is destined to be broodstock for the smolt releasing program. The Bredal sow also has excellent Arctic char fishing, especially in the lower part of the river. Sandy Levinton beaches one in the pool below the canyon. And Michael Evans pulls one in at the edge of the fast current.
Beauty, look at that.
The upper part of the tributary, Norradal Sow, is a very different river with its own unique character. It's wilder and more rocky, a cross between the main river and a mountain stream. But it is big enough to hold good numbers of salmon. Michael Evans connects with one in the upper reaches. But with a shake of its head, it's off. Further downstream there's a mile-long gorge where Michael and his friend Chris Johnson have found 2 nice salmon finning in a pool at the base of a cliff. Chris is going to give them a try, while Michael acts as his spotter and gives instructions from above.
Right, another 3 yards below that.
They must see the fly in this clear water.
Right, fish very carefully from there. Go inch by inch. I'll watch through binoculars.
For a breathtaking moment, they expect a reaction. But none comes. These fish just weren't in a taking mood. After the canyon, there's a small waterfall. Malcolm casts to the tail of the pool from the side of a large back eddy. As the light fades, he hooks a fish. But is it a salmon?
It's an Arctic char.
On another day, American angler Tom fishes the pools below the falls. A good cigar always helps with choosing the right fly. He's obviously chosen well because he's soon into a fish. Julius is the one wearing the hat. Then Tom fishes the pool below with a riffle hitch. Can you spot the fish he's trying for? It's just behind the big stone. And then 2 more fish join it in the lie, but they all show no interest whatsoever, despite several changes of fly. Tom fishes on and tells of his dedication to seek out the best fly fishing despite his limited budget.
And now I'm retired, I'm going to take it a little bit easy. I don't have a lot of money, but I spend it all for fishing.
This is a fantastic pool for sight fishing, as we see on yet another day. Even filmmakers have to take some time out for fishing, so having handed the camera to Julius, I've had a cast over 2 fish. After getting the length right, it's just a matter of leaving the fly to dangle in front of their noses, annoying the fish into taking. Reto spots a bit of movement below, and he's on!
Yeah.
I'm playing this fish far too hard. And the inevitable happens.
Oh! Fuck! He's on.
I played him too hard to get him up to the top, you know? Maybe you should just give the camera back, Julius. Actually, that was great fun. He deserved to go because we gave him such a hard time to hook him. I think I see another one. Let's go for that one, huh?
Really?
Yeah. Below the falls and the junction of the 2 small rivers, the tributary now takes the name of the Tinnedelsow. There are some fabulous looking pools in this stretch. Here's Julius, not satisfied with being guide and cameraman. Now he's fishing, and he's got one. A fresh run Bredalsow salmon, and he deserves it. Julius, what do you think about the guides?
I better say not much about
The guides really are top class.
12 degrees.
They'll even take the water temperature for you, like Suti here. Guess he doesn't want to melt the tires on this 4x4. Oh, this is what they're really for, by the way, not just a quick trip to the supermarket.
My first impression is it's an absolutely beautiful river.
It is a beautiful river, and there's much more of it than we've seen here. The Bredalsow will continue to be managed by Angling Service Strengir to provide a thriving population of salmon and the best possible sport. You'll have to come and find out for yourself. Jack Hemingway did, and he caught a salmon, and let it go back into the Bredalsow. Let's remember him for his commitment to salmon conservation.
I think that people who fish only to catch and take fish out without thinking about the future of the fishery are missing a great part of what's involved. A lot of us band together in associations, such as the Atlantic Salmon Trust in England, the Atlantic Salmon Federation in the United States, and the North Atlantic Salmon Fund, who try to do things to enhance fisheries, protect them, eliminate the major problems, and they've been legion, unfortunately. The man who is behind North Atlantic Salmon Fund, Ori Vigfusson, has a theory which I couldn't agree with it more, and that is that a river, in order to be a good salmon river, should be filled with fish for the sport to be good. And then you can take some if need be, but when numbers are low, then most of us release our fish. I believe that one of the things that's involved in salmon fishing, and that is a distinctive love for the quarry. You have to love these fish, and if you love them, you should take extra time and give of your time and sometimes of your money to help the continuance of this noble breed of animal.